Hello, Rob from Fountain Pen Journey with a review of the Monteverde Ritma fountain pen. Now this is the blue version. There are some other versions, colours are available, fairly limited. They have released a few special editions or different colours if you like, of which I've got a couple and I will review those sometime down the line. But this is, if you like, the base review of the Monteverde Ritma fountain pen. And what sets it apart from other fountain pens? Well, it's the capping mechanism. It's magnetic. I'm not saying it's the only magnetic capping fountain pen there is. There are several. There are some expensive fountain pens, such as Visconti, which adopt a magnetic capping system. But this is one of the cheaper, more affordable fountain pens which has that feature. So, let's talk about the Monteverde Ritma. Well, Monteverde are an American-based company, and they, along with Conklin, have had one or two quality control issues. I'll just say quality control. The first Conklin fountain pen I bought when I first started my fountain pen journey was one of the more expensive fountain pens that I actually thought I'd ever buy. And quite honestly, it was so disappointing in the writing experience that I completely slated it. I tried to fix the nib and I completely slated it again in my video of that way back in 2017 or 18. I think it was 2018. And it popped me off Conklin and also the, if you like, almost cousin, I won't say sister company, but Monteverde as well. But this was one of, I think the Monteverde Ritma came out in when did I buy this pen? I think it was 2020. Maybe 2021. So it's been around for a bit, but it's it's an interesting pen. It's very cylindrical. There's not a lot really going on shape-wise with this pen. It's all metal, the cap, everything, all metal. So it is quite weighty. It's not overly heavy though. The cap itself has got this sort of dimple up top, which is really smooth, and I find that quite tactile. The cap is metal, and this is like a gunmetal type colour, and it picks up greasy fingerprints or any oils really, really badly. At first I thought it was actually beginning to form a patina, because one thing, I've got very dry hands. I don't generally leave greasy fingerprints on things. And I thought, oh, something's on the cap. That's quite strange. Oh, it's a patina. It isn't. It just really shows fingerprints. It is very highly polished, as you can see. And there is this this nice clip. It's a nice smooth clip, slopey clip. And it's incredibly stiff. I mean, it really is. But it slides on and off. Fairly thin materials, but it's really stiff. Hardly any seam. There is there we go, Monteverde Ritma engraved on the bottom of the cap. Hardly any seam. You can feel it a bit, but it's pretty well machined. And this matte blue metal barrel in this blue version. The finial up here is the same as the cap, and it's also magnetic, so it caps. It actually is magnetic, which is really nice, and that's actually quite tactile. The capping mechanism, magnetic, and it's good. It's smooth. It's really, really good, and it's so secure. I've never had this cap pop off, and I've dropped this pen a couple of times. The cap doesn't come off. It's really good, but it's easy to uncap. It's a solid magnet, but you can uncap it easily with one hand. No real effort required. Really, really good, and it's fun. Oh my god, it's a fun system. As for the actual, and it is sometimes you sometimes get a pop. There we go. There we go. Sometimes you get a pop. There's no issues with any of the nib drying out in this because it seals well, even though I can't see a cap liner in there. And the blue nib, plated blue nib, matches the barrel of the pen. That's a really, really nice touch. It is a Monteverde engraved nib with mountains on there, and there is a gunmetal section which is very chunky, but it's quite short. But it doesn't matter too much because you can hold this pen pretty much wherever you like. There is an absolutely minuscule step up to the barrel. It's not sharp at all. It's really comfortable. You're not going to notice that. However, this is a metal section. It is highly polished. And I do know that some people struggle with this. If you've got hot, sweaty hands, grease on your fingertips, this could be a slippery section. There is no flare, it is cylindrical, and I find that I don't have any issues with it. I never do with metal sections, especially the ones which are matte, but bear in mind we've got a matte barrel and a polished section. So if you've got any issues with metal sections, this probably isn't going to be a great pen for you. However, it is very girthy. As you can see, it's pretty much identical to the rest of the barrel. So yeah, it's a chunky pen. And unposted, it's a good size. Really chunky, good weight, really nice weight to this pen. Cap that, post that, sorry. And you've got a really nice length, and there is no back weighting to it. This is a fairly heavy cap, but even posted, it's still very comfortable to write with. The nibs are available in a range of sizes. There is a black plastic feed under there, so you can pick and choose. And I went with a 1.1. I can't remember if it's 1.1, but I've certainly gone with a stub nib for this fountain pen. So let's do the writing sample on my Rhodia pad. So, Monteverde Ritma fountain pen, blue stub nib, and let's do a writing sample here. Because I really need to talk to you about this writing experience with this nib. Right, what do I think? Well, in all honesty, I've been using this pen for a fair number of months now, probably about 6 months, and I was not really holding out much hope after my experience with Conklin many years ago. Monteverde and their own steel nibs not filling me with an awful lot of confidence. There is a nice bit of feedback, amazingly, with this nib. It's quite strange. Remember, this is a stub nib, so you know you've got to get the angle right, otherwise nothing happens. Because it is obviously. It's never going to focus, is it? Here we go. It is a stub nib. It's not the widest, broadest stub nib, but you can see the character there. do this a bit bigger actually. There we go. So it's got a real true stub nib character to its writing. Really enjoyable. It's fun to write with, and it's, for a stub nib, it's actually really quite smooth. There is a bit of feedback when it's in the right position, but it's so minuscule, it's actually pleasant. It's very much like the feedback that you get with a sailor nib, that pencil-like feedback, but it's not as definitive. It's not as characterful as that actual feedback you get with sailor nibs. So I really love writing with this pen. It comes in a box and it comes with a cartridge, but it also comes with a pretty decent converter. And standard international, so all good. Always nice to see that. This ink, by the way, is a diamine ink. It's one of their heritage collection inks. So this is diamine 1864 blue black. And I really enjoy writing with this fountain pen. It's very comfortable. It's a really nice size. It's a really hefty, nice weight without being too heavy. And the capping mechanism is absolutely superb. The one thing that I dislike a little bit about the capping mechanism is the cap sort of turns, but it doesn't. It rotates, which, as you can see how strong the magnet is on this cap, just turning it has actually ended up with me being able to unscrew the barrel on there. Just tighten that back up a little bit. And I know that, I think it was Fig Boot on Pens when he reviewed the Monteverde Ritma a number of months ago, if not last year. He said he didn't like the way that the cap actually spins round. Now, that could be down to individual pens. I don't know, because mine seems to have enough friction on this tiny step where the section meets the barrel. There seems to be enough friction there for it not to actually rotate all the time too much. It's actually, you can feel it grinding, so not an issue on this particular pen that I've got. So maybe Fig Boot had one which had been machined and polished to something a little bit more. And I really like it, and it's a great quick draw fountain pen. Easy to uncap and cap. I mean, you don't have to think about it. It's not, you don't have to push it, you don't have to unscrew it or screw it back on. It just caps solidly. It works 100% of the time, every time. Same with posting. You don't have to think about it. There's no effort required. You literally move it into position and it does its stuff. Really, really good. And as a quick draw fountain pen, I know that stub nibs might not necessarily be the absolute best nib for note taking, but it's, you know, it's so useful. You know, just quickly take the cap off, cap it. If I'm having a conversation with somebody, this capping system and this particular capping mechanism on this pen is brilliant, because I can be writing away, and like for example now, I shall show you how wet this nib is. Medium wetness, lays down a lot of ink though, it's pretty good, I'm happy with it. But if I'm then going to talk for any longer, just cap it easily, yeah, uncap it, carry on writing. Oh, sorry, what was that? Yeah. So really good. Really, really impressed. I love this, and I have bought more of this Monteverde Ritma fountain pen because it is such a great pen. It's affordable, good quality, no issues, writes brilliantly. This stub nib, really enjoy it. And there you have it. So that's the review of the Monteverde Ritma fountain pen. Definitely one that I recommend. So, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye.